What's up, guys? It's Amma Jamma here, and I'm going to go over how to kind of predict / not get burned on earnings plays by playing contracts, and why it is that when a stock might move 20% on earnings, you still wake up down 60% on a contract. And we started with Snap here because Snap has earnings today and it's an expected 20% move. So people that aren't very conscientious of how the Greeks work and this and that are like, oh, 20% move. I got to be up 1,000% on the contracts overnight if it really moves that 20%. And that's not necessarily the case. The expected move is worked in. You get the juice when it goes past that expected move. So for something like Snap, which is expected to go 20%, if you bought contracts for Friday, say, all right, and it moves 20% overnight, and you believe it goes up, and you expect that move's going to be 20% moving up overnight, you could clearly see here how this is how it works, and this is how options deflation works and options crush. So on this 11 right here, you could see how the IV right now is 264%. The typical IV on Snap is somewhere around 100, a little under 100%. Let's say 100 just for shits and giggles. And it's 264 right now. That's that buildup coming into earnings, that volatility surge. That's why you want to play into earnings, because this Vega right here, as we moved into earnings, and this is why it's so much better to play into earnings than actually play the earnings. So let's say Snap moved 5% the last few days. Not only are you getting your move on the contracts for that 5%, but if we started here at 100%, and like it shows here, this 0.004, so that means for every percent up this contract moved on the IV, you got 4/100ths of a penny. So what that means is we got 100%. I'm expecting 150% decrease or implied volatility go down. So you know that IV crush they talk about. So that's 164% actually that we're going to lose overnight. So we times that 164% times the Vega here, which tells us it's 4/100ths of a penny here, 0.004 for every percent this thing moves. So we're going to times that 164 times 0.004. That gives us 65 cents. What that means is these contracts that are 97 cents right now, even with the 20% move, automatically out the gate tomorrow, we're going to open these contracts just on the IV alone at about 33 cents. We're going to lose 65% on the contracts just on the IV crush. All right. And this applies for lower volatility stocks as well, like Google's got earnings. All right. And the expected move on Google is 6%. All right. So if we look at Google here, let's scroll down and we'll scroll over. So if we say we did the 180s for Google, which are $2.23. Right now, Google's trading about at 90% implied volatility clip. Usually Google's around 50%. So we're increased volatility of 35% here. All right. So let's times that 35% by our Vega on the 185 is 4 cents. All right. So let's take our calculator. And we're going to subtract 39%. So 39% of the IV we're going to lose overnight to get back to what it's normally at. Times, all right, our 0.04. $1.56 off the rip we're losing on these 185 contracts just in IV crush. So these are going to be at zero. Essentially, that means these will be at zero. Period. So we need, not only do we need that 6% expected move, we need double or triple that to make up for the IV crush on these contracts. And it's vice versa. So if we started the beginning of last week around 50 to 60% on these Google, all right, we get to bank on this Vega that increases as we get closer to the money. So we say we started $5 out of the money. So Vega was like 2.27. All right. And we started at 50 and we gained 25% in the last week on that. All right. So we start at that 3 cents times, or 0.37 times we started at 50. So that 34 times 0.035. So we've got an extra $1.19 bonus on these contracts over the last week and a half, which means you probably get about a 15% or so extra boost on the contracts just by getting them that week and a half early. That's why a lot of the smarter traders like to trade into earnings and get that extra IV boost as well. That's just a quick video on how to not get crushed on earnings and why you need to go out a little further on your contracts if you're expecting to play earnings. And whatever that market maker move is, you need that to far beat it. On a chart like Snap, you need 35% or so move if it's expected move of 20%. Period. Thanks, guys. I'll talk to you later.